We're so white.
And nerdy.
Is there anything we can do to ethnic us up a bit?
Probably. I mean, I have been messing with After Effects a lot, but
Let's see.
morally, probably not.
I'm gonna trust your judgment on that one. Hey, we're two fat guys.
And we just watched Guardians of the Galaxy.
The Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes, probably.
Ooh, embarrassing.
I never...
For us for doing this video, and all the preceding ones, and all the ones we did.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, really, really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had very high expectations for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I am familiar with James Gunn's work. I thought he was a perfect choice for this insanely obscure Marvel property.
Accurate.
With a talking raccoon and a semi-talking tree, where even Joss Whedon was originally like, how are we going to do this? And then Kevin Feige's like, oh, we're going to get James Gunn. He's like, oh, great. All right, yeah, you're good.
Stop talking, idiot. I have Avengers 2 to make.
They just wrapped on that.
They just wrap on that. Now what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, but... So I had really high expectations. I love all the people involved, and I was... The trailers have been incredible.
Big Bradley Cooper fan, that's you.
I mean, he's a good choice.
It's your Twitter handle.
He's not my first choice for Rocket Raccoon. That'd be James Woods, based on nothing.
Mm-hmm. I also don't agree with that. But.
I just think that he sounds like a sarcastic raccoon. But no, after seeing the movie, he did a very, very good job at not being Bradley Cooper, which is spectacular. Vin Diesel did a very good job being Vin Diesel, which is also important.
Actually, I think he did a pretty good job of not just being Vin Diesel. Like his voice.
No, there was like 4 lines where I was like, "There's Vin, there he is." Actually, it wasn't even during any of the I Am Groots. It was during all of the yelling, like during the prison escape.
Yeah.
Like all of his just like like that's Vin Diesel yelling.
Yes.
Which is great.
It's
a good sound. Yeah, this movie was fantastic. And even though this is not the first of the Phase 2 films, it kind of is.
It's the first of the space films.
Yeah, the sort of the cosmic
Marvel cosmic.
universe.
Yeah, because if you look at any of the crossovers, they in the comics even they do this thing where like, okay, well they have these events on Earth, and then they have these crossover events with the characters in space, and then every once in a while they'll all cross over. But really, there'll be all sorts of stuff happening with all the space characters that are away from Earth and like don't really interact with stuff happening on Earth. So now they're sort of establishing that in film. Like, all right, now we have a group of characters that, like, you know what, Ultron could kill everyone on Earth, and they could still have the same exact wacky adventure that they're currently having. So it frees them up to do other stories. So that's why it feels fresh, because it's a whole new sort of
I was actually
sector of the films.
I was surprised at how little there is tying this movie into the rest of the established Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It really helped the movie stand on its own.
I think it was a smart call.
Really, the only thing I can even think of is the fact that they talked a lot about the Kree, which are probably going to be in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's...
Oh, the Chitauri. They mentioned Chitauri.
The Chitauri, the other.
Also the Thor
Thanos.
crossover.
Well, yes, but like there was in this movie, there wasn't anything that like tied it back to everything that was going on. Because even the Thor crossover was more of a prologue to this, as opposed to anything to do with that movie. Like they mentioned that either like it was still connected, but it wasn't as connected as say like Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Where that was intrinsically like,
hey,
the whole back half of the story is all let's get tied into S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything that's going on there that's not necessarily core to that movie.
Yeah.
Everything in this movie has to do with this movie. The cast is fantastic.
Before you get on that,
okay, well,
the film is gorgeous.
Yes.
And I think the only reason I mention that is because you don't need to tell me that the cast is charming and hilarious. We're going to talk about that, and they are. But what surprised me is James Gunn. I was like, great, he's going to tell a funny ass story. It's going to be quirky and weird, just like the story needs to be, and it was. Yeah. Everything advertised, all my anticipation was met. I had very high expectations as well, and it was all met, except for the visuals, which is far exceeded. Because James Gunn, while he's done some really cool films, and I really enjoy a lot of the stuff he's done, he's not really known for... He's not Alfonso Cuarón. He's not a cinematographer or something like that, but it is just a gorgeous film to look at.
Well, in his defense, he's never really had money.
That's true. Like, he had all this money. That's the thing, though. He's never had that money, so you might just get it and not know what to do with it. But he knew what to do with it, and I don't know if it was all him or if he was like, hey, you know what? I have a bunch of money. Let's pay a bunch of money to a good cinematographer. I didn't bother to look up stuff, but it just looks amazing. Every frame's a friggin' painting, and it's just the scope of it.
So much color.
Yeah, it's very...
Like, even in, like, character design down to production design, and even just the large scale, whenever they show space, it is just... It's really bold and colorful, which is definitely a different palette than, say, Winter Soldier, for example.
Yeah, the production design was amazing. The CG... Well, first off, they use a lot of practical effects, which is always the right call to make. But the CG was very good. I mean, I know we live in the future, so everyone should know that by now, but it's very well blended. The sci-fi never felt ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Of the 5 main characters, we have one guy who is entirely he's just a dude.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 people who are in heavy makeup, and then 2 that are completely CG. And they all work together.
Yeah, they're like...
really seamlessly.
Like, there are 1 or 2 moments your brain goes like, well, obviously that raccoon's not there. But, like, it's not like...
What?
It's not like Spider-Man effects from, 14 years ago where you're like, that's a weird blocky thing swinging on webs. But, it's surprising how well they all work together. But it's just... So I just wanted to make sure that we should mention it at the top because it's visually just... gorgeous film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, production design, cinematography, the color scheme, just everything about it is beautiful. So, now let's talk about this wonderful cast.
The actors in this, the main cast, the 5, the Guardians, all really deliver. The big standout for me was Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer. He's done like 3 movies, maybe, 2 where he had... like lines to say and a story to progress.
And they were probably like WWE films.
They were absolutely WWE films. And so this was a big moment for him to shine, and he knew it going in. And like all the early reports is that he was just working his ass off on set to do good, to like always be asking questions, to like work with his acting coach, and it really paid off. He delivers a fantastic, I don't want to say dry performance, because his character is not really dry, because he's kind of ridiculous, but he's the character doesn't have...
he's not Star-Lord.
Yeah, he's very literal.
Yeah,
he's not quipping. He's actually a very intelligent character, which is also different than the other characters he's played. He says he gets typecast as big, strong thug man, and this was not that. And it worked really well. Yeah, he worked especially good next to someone like Star-Lord, Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
who did really good.
Fun side about Dave Bautista. So, like a month before the movie opens up, one of my friends on Facebook had posted a status that apparently her boss is good friends with Dave Bautista, and he had seen Guardians of the Galaxy twice at that point.
What?
And I was like, God damn it. Yeah, she lives in Denver, and I don't know off the top of my head where she works, but yeah, her direct boss, was like good friends with Dave Bautista, so he'd gotten to see Guardians a couple times.
I already hate him.
Right?
I don't know this person.
The worst.
He's like 5 degrees separated from me, and I don't like him.
Chris Pratt delivers as expected.
Oh, yeah.
That's not to downplay what he did. Just that I knew he was a good actor. Like, having watched Parks and Rec and how hilarious he is in that, and you have to be a really good actor to nail Andy Dwyer the way he does.
Yeah.
But also
Lego
movie, and then things like Moneyball, and I've not watched Zero Dark 30, but I know he was in that as well.
I have not either.
But I mean, yeah, just the range he showed between how much I enjoyed him in Moneyball and how good he was in Lego Movie and as Andy Dwyer. I'm like, okay, this guy's going to be able to hit exactly James Gunn dialogue, and yeah, that's exactly what we got. He's the James Gunniest character saying the James Gunniest lines, and he's perfect for it.
Though, I gotta say, there are so many stellar supporting roles in this movie. To where my biggest problem with the movie is I didn't get enough of the supporting cast. And that's like the the best kind of problem you can have with something is, oh, I didn't get enough of that really good thing.
Okay, your biggest problem is wrong, but we'll come back to that. Keep going.
Okay.
Your opinion is wrong, I'm just saying, objectively.
But yeah, Lee Pace as Ronan is really good.
Not the richest motivation of a character, but still, he got what we need to, like...
Yeah, he was the big villainy guy. His reaction to the very end, and I want to keep that moment at least kind of spoiler-free. Really? That's sort of how he gets... Yeah, at this point.
When do you think this is getting uploaded?
I don't know, whenever, but still people should see it.
I think it's going to be like a month out before this is uploaded, and if they haven't seen it, then they deserve to be spoiled.
No, not for the end moment.
All right.
His one of his final moments, just his reaction to that is spectacular. Michael Rooker as Yondu is very, very good. John C. Reilly as Nova Corps officer, Roman Day, like these really kind of small parts, but really strong actors going into them. Benicio del Toro as the Collector, spectacular. Even Josh Brolin, I thought as Thanos was very, very good.
Yeah, Karen Gillan didn't do much, but what she did, I did enjoy.
Oh yeah, she was very good. It has been pointed out to me, and I can't not think about it now whenever I think about this movie, is that this movie is basically an RPG campaign.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to bring up. So I'm going to tell you what should be your biggest problem with it. And yeah, I saw Emily had pointed that out on Facebook, and I was like, that is actually a really good point. And that is why the biggest flaw in the story is the biggest flaw that I always get whenever I do an RPG campaign. It's that I'm not sure why these characters came together. Is that like, well, I know they have a quest and they do their best to like quickly tie together their goals. Basically, the GM said, okay, guys, here's the big bad. Like, go do this thing. Well, and like they did it because they're supposed to get together. Like, yeah, they're really antagonistic people, and like, all right, well, we're supposed to form an unlikely group, so they do.
And that's my thing. I care way less as soon as I'm put in the mindset of it's an RPG.
That's the thing.
Yeah, Rocket and Groot are just good players.
Yeah, no,
they're not fighting against the tide.
This thing, it did zero to take away from my enjoyment of the film. It's just that, like, okay, if I'm to break it down, like. You think with such a film that looks so good and is so funny that, like, okay, maybe the story's not that strong, but the story's actually good with that one exception. With the exception of the fact that you have to accept, like, okay, these characters all agreed to become a unit a little quick. And they don't even become, like, a well-gelled unit. Like, that actually takes the whole movie, and they arrive at a good place at the end of the film, but they, like, stick together without too much friction too quickly. But I'm like, you know what?
It's because
it has to happen for the story, and even though that's not a great reason, like with everything else that the movie are going for it did nothing to me in the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit heavy-handed. It's especially going back because when I watched it again, like some of the dialogue is a little bit, especially with Gamora, like basically just here is my motivation.
Yeah.
And giving it to you. Even watching it the second time, because I knew what was coming up, I didn't care. I was like, yeah, say your thing. Let's get to the good parts. And I think that was mostly to do with Avengers worked so well because they had S.H.I.E.L.D. there to say like, hey, you guys, be a team, and then they fail, and then they start to gel. Yeah. Like their reason for being there was there was an active person there saying, hey, do this.
And they all wanted to stop him, and then you could have them in the same suit without working together. Those people, like, that's the thing. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, you look at like, okay, well, Groot and Rocket are really just trying to make money. Well, Rocket's trying to make money, and Groot likes to hang out with Rocket, and Star-Lord's just trying to survive and also make money, and then, you're trying to, screw Thanos, and like, so it's just, they all have, while they do their best to tie it in, like, okay, if we all do this, it's best for all of us early on. Like I said, that's really the biggest flaw in the movie, but it did nothing to me while watching the film. It's really just on reflection that I was just like, oh.
It kind of, on that same point, they did kind of also go against that when they all kind of left to go do the thing that they were all there supposed to do, and Drax didn't have any part of that. Mm-hmm. He didn't care about the Collector. He's not there to do anything with that. And so he does the thing that his character is motivated to do, which is he just calls the bad guy and says, "Hey, I'm here. Come fight me."
Yeah, I mean that was a little Lactui, but
yeah, well, like which I kind of liked that bit of just like, yeah, he was left to his own devices, and everyone stopped paying attention to him, so he did the one thing that he was motivated to do.
That's a solid bit, and that's what I'm saying. It's not like a constant problem throughout. It's just that overall, like, taking these characters, I'm like, okay, it should have taken you a longer time to be sort of reluctantly thrust into a group.
Yeah.
But like I said, not taking away from the film. It is heavily competing for best Marvel film. It's in the top 3 probably.
They're getting harder and harder to compare.
Yeah.
Because again, how do you compare something like this to Winter Soldier?
That's the thing, because like, yeah, Winter Soldier's over in the running. Like in my mind, it's either Avengers, this, or Winter Soldier, and I'm like, but how can I really, like, to be fair to all of those, like, well, Avengers, like that shouldn't count because it's
it's the
Avenger.
it's the big giant collaboration film.
They're so different. Cause I'm like, yeah, well, this is a lot more cool spaceships. And like, yeah, but that was a lot more espionage. Like,
yeah,
yeah, but did you see that robot man? Like, that was pretty sweet. Yeah, did you see all those fucking aliens?
Yeah, did you see when Star-Lord piloted a ship from within another ship?
I did see that.
Because man, that is just to have that idea and to storyboard that out and then to like put that into existence in a film is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was just a good concept. Because it started way earlier. It started with the ships that they were flying that just had little mechanical arms that... I don't know where you start with a bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked very well.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of fun shots. There was a great shot of behind Chris Pratt's shoulder while he's at the controls, and you can see out the window of his cockpit into the other cockpit, out beyond that, and then the camera, because it's confused, just eventually zooms out past all of that to the actual action, because there is so much cockpit in front of it. And yeah, like just little moments like that, I thought were spectacular. And again, showing the sign that that all these Marvel movies has is you have one person really heading up the vision of it, and they're surrounded by really talented people that are all really good at their jobs, and they're not afraid to have dialogue. I don't know what else I have to say about that.
I'm so excited for the future, what it brings. I think they did.
Yeah, they've already announced 2 sequels.
Yeah, they did a good job of sort of setting up the sequel ties. Some potential spoilers, some rumors rather, that I heard online concerning some events at the end of Avengers 2 would lead to the possibility for them to be in Avengers 3, which most people assume they're going to be in Avengers 3 at this point.
I would think they would have to be, yeah.
Yeah, because at that point, I don't know if you can go. I don't know if you can keep Thanos as scary of a big figure if he doesn't actually do something eventually.
Yeah.
So I think Avengers 3, if they don't do Civil War, they'll have to do Thanos.
That's true, yeah. If they're doing Thanos, then when are they going to get to Civil War? Maybe Civil War will be all Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about that. Robert Downey Jr. recently opened up possibility for him to sign on for more films.
Really?
Like, everyone thought it was done after Avengers 3, but he recently said, he's like, well, it's up to them to make sort of an offer, and then we'll see what happens. I'm like, I have a feeling like if he gets a Disney truckload full of money...
Yeah.
They bought Star Wars. That's how much money these people have. They said, bring me Star Wars. That's how rich these people are. But since before he was like, I'm getting done with this. Now the sort of dialogue has changed. Like, I'm hoping anyways that having Joss Whedon and people like that involved are sort of re-energizing him. And also, if he's not required to do the standalone films, then it's just...
That's true. Then it's just, hey, every
maybe a cameo, you want to come on, pop in this scene in this Captain America movie? Because if he comes back, I think you'll at least be able to get the other ones for Avengers 4. And then...
I think the only other possible holdout might be Chris Evans.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's contracted to.
From what I read,
but I know he wants to focus on directing real bad.
That's true, but also, I mean, you can
let him direct the Civil War movie.
No, you can direct it. He can direct a lot more small independent films if he gets that Captain America paycheck for Avengers 4. Is what I'm saying.
That's true.
Because here's if they do Avengers 4, you will have all of the Netflix series will have run. You will have Stephen Strange. You will have probably Black Panther. You will hopefully have Miss Marvel.
Ant-Man.
You'll have Ant-Man established.
A pair of Ant-Mans.
Yeah, you have Ant-Men. You'll have, at this point you have Vision. You have, Ultron out there as a possible second villain. You'll have all sorts of...
Assuming these people will survive.
Yeah.
Till then.
Yeah, you'll have a lot more... That's the thing, you have a wider staple. Plus, if they start using Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as I hope they do, and bringing in more of these side characters since they just applied for a copyright to Squirrel Girl. You'll be able to just like, hey, you know what? We brought in all these people from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show. They're going to be in this giant crowd scene. They're not seeing any extras. You can have people like, oh yeah, like if you watch all the Marvel stuff like we do, you can go like, holy shit, there are 50 heroes in the scene and they're all fighting.
Yeah,
best thing ever. Because for some reason, comic fans love it when heroes fight each other as opposed to fighting villains.
That's
I'm not sure why.
The great thing about Groot and Rocket is you can put them in no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't even need Bradley Cooper or Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Just put them in the background, shooting guns.
Do you want to talk about some of the Easter egg cameo stuff in this one, or just let them discover for themselves?
Yeah, you should just watch that yourself.
Okay.
If you're longtime fans of the Two Fat Guys.
There's some good character appearances.
If you don't know who the character is in the final after the credits scene, like the actual after the credits scene, just look up our video of the same title, and we'll talk all about it.
Yeah. Also, just so you know, the biggest Easter egg, there are a ton of Easter eggs all throughout, but the collector scene is where you want to go, because the collector collects things. So just pretty much every single one of his little displays is something from the Marvel Universe that, like, if you're deep in the comics, you can go like, oh shit, there's that, there's that, oh crap. Lots of really good stuff. Also, I do want to say that I was really proud of them and not having the Mother's Gift serve not as the like, oh, we're in our darkest moment and I need inspiration, but rather as a like, you know,
the tag.
Where do I go from here? And like, here's where you go from here.
Yeah,
like you found your purpose. So because I was assumed that Chekhov's gift would go off, like, okay, it's start of Act 3 after they hit their darkest moment and they need to pick me up. He'll open up the gift and like, guys, I just got a gift from my mom. Let me tell you what it told me. And like, but they didn't do that, and good on them.
And that could have actually just been an entirely editing thing. That scene could have easily fit like on their way to the final battle, and then if they realized tonally it didn't work, just like, I
don't think they did.
Yeah, I'm not saying they did, but like it's them silently sitting around a spaceship. So
yeah. That's probably all I'd say. We could just
what's coming up? What is coming up next? Well, we're gonna do an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video.
Are you talking about Marvel only?
Marvel, yeah, sure, probably.
Marvel only. We're going to do an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video coming up here, the Blu-ray release leading up to Season 2. We're going to just talk about all of Season 1. We might, depending on how long we talk, we might break it in half seasons.
Yeah.
Especially since there is a huge shift in the quality of the show. Especially when she's in the back half. Well, really around the reveal. Well,
we'll get there.
Yeah. You know, and also, we're going to say now, we're going to talk about it as spoilers.
Go quick, though, because my cameras were almost out of time.
Okay, well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up. We have some other things for Dark Horse and DC before then. But that's it for Marvel. That's what's coming up next. And then Avengers 2.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. Right?
Wow, really? That's the next thing? In Age of Ultron? Jesus.
That's how old we are. Age of Ultron's going to be coming out.
Oh, man. Awesome. Well, we really need to sign off for this. Bye.
Hope you got our dick message.
God, they got my dick message.
Like, that was pure Andy Dwyer, and I didn't even care.